welcome to episode number 2 of Come Sit With Us. I'm so excited for this chat today. I am here with the beautiful Kelly. Kelly is the Queen of New Zealand, actual, in Arbonne. It's been, about 6 years now, and she is at the top of the company. She is a single mum of 2 and, came from that kind of corporate world of, we were just talking about it, like the Sunday blues, the into the week, they're having to be with bosses in other events when you just want to be at home with your babies. So if that is you watching, then this is absolutely the episode for you. So babe, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited you're here. So again, this is just like a casual chat, right? Like I don't know a lot of this, so I'm super excited to hear a lot of this as well. But I guess to start off with, take me back. Is 6 years right?
You are correct. 6-year anniversary, January. So,
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
amazing. And so 6 years ago, what was life? What were you doing?
Oh my God, honestly, when I speak to other women, like I feel their story so much because I was that mum where I was in corporate. So I was a sales rep. It was great because I wasn't in an office as such, but I was on the road a lot. And, I was having to deal with a lot of like kind of big buyers who it was just a toxic environment, right? There was just no like, I don't know, skipping my step. And I would, as you said, the anxiety, like on the Sundays, I would just be like, oh my God, I've got to go to work. I've got a whole week ahead of me. I've got so much travel. And then like my son, when he started school, it was just horrible because obviously I was on the road a lot, and I still remember like him coming home and I just couldn't be there for him. So I was having to look into after school care and just all that kind of stuff, and then missing out on field trips. And yeah, like I guess like growing up, like I always wanted to be a mum. So yeah, for me, like sending my little man off to school and just not being there to give him afternoon tea or picking him up or, all that kind of thing. Just yeah, I guess back then it was just so hard, I guess.
Mhm.
And I was burnt out. I was so tired. I felt stuck. I was so unfulfilled because yes, the money was great. I got a courtesy car. I wasn't stuck in an office, but I just knew there was so much more to life than this. And I was 35 at the time, so back then, going back 6 years, I was with my partner, and we were trying to have a baby. So I had a 5-year-old. Sorry, not 6 years ago. Yes, no, I'm trying to think like the timelines
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
numbers gets like, ugh. But yeah, my second partner, I've got a son with another person, and then I
Yeah.
had another dad. Anyways, lucky me.
Yeah.
It's a bit confusing, but no. So we decided that we wanted to have a baby, and then we found out that it was going to be like a really rough road. I suffer severe endometriosis, so I kind of had that, since I started getting my periods, and just was like something's not right. Like the pain I would get was just like total. I'd throw up and just couldn't even go to school. So I kind of had that in the back of my head when we started trying, and like nothing was happening. So I went and got us checked, and then found out it was like both of us. So we were like, right, I'm 35, times are ticking, like let's sort it out. And then yeah, so we found out that we had to go down the IVF track, which honestly was like traumatic in itself, just so much heartbreak. Like I think with IVF, like you go into it thinking, oh, perfect, like I'm paying this and I'm gonna get
Yeah.
a baby out of it. Like literally just put the sperm and the egg. Yeah, sperm and the egg together, boom. Like you're literally making it for me. Thank you. So we didn't, yeah, obviously we were very naive about that. And, we ended up doing 5 rounds over 5 years. So every time we did a round, it cost $15,000 plus. We had to do the ICSI version, so they literally had to microscope, like some crazy microscope, to get one sperm because the sperm wasn't great. So that obviously was extra cost, but yeah, every time we did a round, we would only make it to one viable embryo.
Oh,
And, like some people do rounds and they get like 10, and it's just such a
yeah.
numbers game. So we would only have that one chance. So I'd go in, get the embryo in, and have that 2 week wait. And you just go crazy in that 2 weeks. You're just like, am I pregnant? Oh my gosh, I'm feeling sick. And, I'm a bit tired. And it's just, yeah, it's such a mind fuck.
Mm.
But yeah, every time I'd get that call and just so sorry, it didn't work. So you have to pull yourself together, have a cry.
All
Obviously,
the
I had to,
money together again.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
just 15 grand just wasted, not wasted, but like it's just so heartbreaking because you put so much, and that is a lot of money for, for
Mm.
something that's not guaranteed. But yeah, like obviously, and then I'd have to go back to work the next day. There was no like downtime or just kind of like, so we would get up again and get the money together again and go another time. So I was obviously had to stay in my job to earn that income, and we just saved so much for these IVF rounds. And so we did that over 5 years, had 5 rounds. In between that, I lost a baby, 14 weeks gestation. But that was like, that baby was naturally conceived. So that was crazy. And I found out on my actual birthday that I was pregnant. And I
Oh,
remember my partner at the time, like I was eating a salmon bagel for my birthday and going, and I was like, oh, I really don't feel like this. And he was like, oh, you're pregnant. And I used to get so like annoyed, like, stop joking about that. Like, we
yeah.
know we can't. But
Yeah.
yeah, I ended up finding out, like, for some reason on that day, I was like, let's go get a pregnancy test. And yeah, I was pregnant. So, but yeah,
Wow.
that was all actually getting my gut health right. So yeah, coming into, I guess, Arbonne, I was at a place in my life where I felt so stuck. I was so unfulfilled. And, I was 35 and it was New Year's Eve, and I just went out onto the beach and I just like literally got onto my knees and cried. Had like a bit of a maybe midlife
Breakdown.
crisis. Yeah, it was definitely a breakdown moment. It was such a pivotal point in my life because I guess we were failing IVF. I just felt like a failure. And yeah, I knew there was something else out there for me, but I just had no idea what, without having to go back to university or like studying something or just totally changing my career. But then I had no idea what I wanted to be or do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, so I did that. I had a breakdown on the beach, kind of like looked up to the universe, God, and just said like, help me, like, please show me, um, what I can do, because I need to change something. And then yeah, January rolls around 2019. And yeah, this woman that I met, so when I would travel for my job, I would stay at hotels, and I got quite friendly with one of the ladies that managed one of the hotels, and she'd always let me stay in the nice rooms, and we kind of got like a relationship going. And then I left that job and went to something else, and we just kind of lost contact. She wasn't really on socials. And then that January, I was going for one of my walks as I usually do, and headphones in, hat on, and I thought I saw her, and I was like, oh, I'm sure that's her. And then like we just kind of missed each other's paths again. And then she was actually going that day to find someone to change her business, to help, like just like that runner in her business sort of thing. She's like, I know there's someone out there that I need to help. So she drove like 2.5 hours to where I live, just going, okay, I've got to find this person. I know she's out there. So crazy, the story.
Oh my gosh.
No. And so we literally missed each other 3 times. Like I even opened the gate for her because I think her buggy, like her pram, got a flat tire. So she actually had to turn around. So there's 3 times we literally banged into each other, but still didn't realize,
That
who
you were
was.
each other. Oh my God.
And
I
then it
love
was,
her tenacity to just be like, today I'm finding this person, I'm walking
she,
my baby, and I'm
yeah,
love
she
that.
was manifesting hard, and,
Yeah.
good on her. But yeah, it got to the end of her walk and she was like, oh, I still just haven't found that person. And so by that time, I was at the water fountain filling up my water bottle back towards her. And obviously, she's like, okay, I need to go back home. I haven't found my person. I'm going to tap her on the back. So she came and tapped me on the back, and I turned around and I was like, oh my God, Jules, I thought it was you. Like, I saw you come into the park. I opened the gate for you, but, you didn't say hi. So I didn't know if it was you or not. And I was like, so into my podcast, whatever I was listening to. No, it wasn't a podcast back then. It would be music. So I wasn't into personal development back then. And she literally was like, "Oh my God, Carol's like," and then started talking to me about life, and then yeah, and then we just like got into talking about the business and with Arbonne, and yeah, and she like gave me one of our fizz sticks, and that was that really. So I went and had fizz stick, and I was just like, "What is in this? This is amazing!" And because at the time I was very into my health and like trying to have a baby, that I was just like, okay, this is really good. And so she messaged me, and I literally met up with her the next day. She spoke to me about the business. I kind of like was like, oh, this sounds like too good to be true, but screw it. Like I've got nothing to lose. And I was in that mindset at the time where I was so open to anything. Honestly, if
Yeah.
anything came to me that day, I would have been like, yep, I'm in, sign me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it all kind of started.
That's wild. I never knew that. And I actually love that story because so often I feel like people think that this is just a social media game, and forget about like the network marketing is actually seeing people and talking to people. Like someone I know in another company that's really successful actually met people a lot, like she traveled a lot for work. So she was on the plane a lot, and so whenever she was on the plane, she would sit next to someone and she pretty much would always sign up that person she sat next to on the plane. And it was because
Wow.
she just had her products with her and she was just like, sit down. And they would say, oh, what's that? Or, just because how often do you sit next to like someone on the plane? So she said she'd always get that middle seat on a plane to have two people because one of them was likely to be a woman and to just have that conversation and like hit it off and, and they were off and away. And she would have like huge success because for her, talking to people actually in person was her magic, her zone of genius. Whereas, of course, other people, it's creating content, having conversations online or attraction marketing or whatever it might be. So I love that
I
because it shows there is no one way. It's like whatever is your jam. I love to talk to people, but I'm really also comfortable talking like online and like I send lots of voice notes. Whereas for someone else, online and like presenting would be their hell. And for them, it's like, no, I need to host parties or, like there's no one way. I love that.
100%. And I love that. I love that because honestly, when I started my business, when you go back 6 years ago, I didn't even have a social media presence. And a lot of people look at my profile and they look at where I'm at and, and they're like, oh, I could never do what Kelly does. And look, she's got so many followers or whatever. But, when I started, I had nothing. Like I was not confident. My son's dad was a full-blown narcissist, like literally bit out all the confidence that I even had, so I had to like start fresh, after I finally ended that relationship and the hell I went through with that person. So I literally had no confidence, no self-worth. And then obviously going into the IVF journey and I felt like for a good chunk of my life, it was just obstacle after obstacle. Like it was like, when am I going to catch a break, And so I really had to work on myself. So when Arbonne came along and I just was like welcomed into this team of women, I was like, what is this? Why is everyone so supportive and amazing? Like I'm not used to this. Like, but it was amazing because it was honestly just what I needed at that time. And I started to go really fast in the business because, I had these women all of a sudden that were pouring love into me and, making me feel like I could do this. And because I was so obsessed with the products and on my IVF journey, I just wanted to share with every single person. And I'm that kind of person. Like if I'm in, I'm in. Like I go 100. Like if I believe in something and I love something, then I want everyone to know, like all my friends, all my family, like everyone has to know. That's just my personality. So I, like, and a lot of my business when I did start, it was talking. It was just talking to so many people, sharing the vision. Like, yes, I wasn't where I wanted to be yet, but I knew where I was going. And I think that's
Mhm.
such an important thing is that, if you don't have that confidence or that belief or that vision, you have to borrow it off the person that's gone before you. And, when I came into the business, I was really lucky. I had some really good mentors that were just so great. And, they helped me with personal development, which I've never even didn't even know existed. And I think just starting to pour into myself, I was like, wow, okay, I can see where this business is going. And the more people I got onto the products, the more confident I was getting. And because I was like, wow, they're doing wonders for me. Like I guess my personality is like I am an empath and I love to fix. I love to help.
Yeah.
So for me, like that was I was like, oh my God, I've found a purpose. Like I can actually help people with these products, or with the business, like you can start earning an extra income. So as a single mum, when I was just with my son, I went through, being on the benefit, like living paycheck to paycheck, like the government was helping me pay, giving me an income. I was working like twice a week just so I could still be at home with my son, but still get like an extra income. And I remember like having to move back in with my mum, like, and not even being able to afford bread. So I have seen and been what it's like as a
In the
single mum.
trenches. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the absolute trenches, but was just so determined to stay at home with my son because he's also got a severe hearing loss. So I wanted to just pour so much love and just like as much as I could in him before he started school. So that was quite another journey of mine. I don't know if many people know about that. So yeah, when my son was 9 months, I found out he needed hearing aids. So yeah, that was
Wow.
yeah, it was a bit of, yep, yeah, but he's absolutely amazing. Honestly, you wouldn't even know. And like my main thing was always to treat him like any other kid. No special, no, you're not, you're gonna be in a mainstream class, you're just gonna do everything else. And yeah, so
I
he's
talk about this a lot, how like true health is not just what you eat, what you are. I mean, I think people know now so much more than like 10 years ago that true health is not just what you nourish your body with or going to the gym. It's what you watch, who you surround yourself with. But it's also not stressing financially. Like I've always said, you can't be truly healthy if you're awake all night stressing about how to pay the bills. Like I
yeah,
have been there so many times. And in our lockdown 2 years in Melbourne, we lost everything, all of our savings. My husband lost his job. We had to shut the business, like everything. So knowing what it's like to have to go to the food bank for food, knowing what it's like having kids and going, oh my gosh, this is not what I planned my life to be like. And you can see, I mean, I was reading something about the homelessness rate in Australia and New Zealand and how it's growing so much. But the demographic that it's growing in is actually women in their 50s and 60s. And it's because they go through divorce and then they're left with nothing because they have no super, because often they have taken time out to have the kids and do all the things and be that support. They are then left with nothing in a divorce and they have to start from scratch. And most of the time at that sort of age, they're not getting the jobs that they can get, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like this perfect storm of this particular demographic of women becoming the highest sort of to be homeless in 2025. And I'm like, how did we get there? But I think that our generation and the generations to come, I mean, I talk to even my daughters and they're like, I'm going to do this and this and this. Like, it's no longer, I'm going to go to uni, get the job, get married, and then whatever, it's like
yeah,
they all want to be their own little queens, and CEOs. And I
I
love that
love,
because it's such a different mindset, right? But personal
yeah,
development for me too was a big part of this journey. And I've always said that if network marketing hadn't ever made me $1, I would actually be okay with that because of the friendships, the personal development, the community that I think as an adult is really hard to find anywhere else. Like everyone says when kids go to school, you're going to make all these best friends. Like, where does this happen?
yeah,
Because it doesn't happen here. Like it's hard. I wouldn't know you if it weren't for this. We wouldn't be going to Vegas in a few months. Like it's things like this that are so incredible. So you're 6 years ago in that pain, you go on a walk. This is wild. Meet this person that changes your life ultimately. The IVF ended up being successful after a long, long journey with your beautiful girl Rosa now. What sort of does life look like now? Like, 6 years ago to now, like, I know that's a long journey to talk to, but like, what do your days look like now? Like, what did that journey bring you ultimately to today?
oh, I love that question. Do you know what? I'm just gonna pause. My bulldog keeps coming. You've got a bulldog?
I do. Who's snoring
You,
so loudly right now that I'm
yeah.
like, I hope that no one can hear this.
Oh my gosh, I've got Ruby. Like she keeps coming by my side. I keep putting her outside and she snores so loud. So I'm just gonna remove her again. Sorry,
Go.
everyone. Anyone that has a bulldog will understand.
The
If it's
pain,
not
and they
the
don't.
kids, it's a dog. Honestly.
Oh, it's another baby though. We always say this, that she's more punishing than any of the kids, because even when bulldogs, you open the door for them, they don't go out. They
So,
sit there and stare at you, and you're like,
yeah.
do you want to come in or not?
Oh, it's so frustrating. So I'm so sorry. So I hopefully I need to actually go around and shut that door, but it's okay. Um, so so my life now. So yes, I had a beautiful daughter, Rosa, who is now 3. And honestly, like, yeah, it was another kind of block in the road happened. Like I became a single mum when she was only 4 weeks. So yeah, and obviously I guess like whenever I tell the story, especially as a mum, like going through, like I guess with women, like we're the pin cushions, we're the one that had to have injections with all the hormones, like, put the embryo inside us and just, just that whole thing. So when I finally got pregnant with Rosa, it was just like the icing on the cake. It was just like, yes. And, I had built my business to the top. So before I had Rosa, so I always knew like I wanted to have another baby, even though it took so long. I just always had the vision and, coming into Arbonne with the personal development and manifesting and just all that sort of stuff and the vision, like it just helped me so much to have that hope and I don't quit. I'm not a giver upper. So for me, I was just like, no, this is happening. I'm having my baby. So I had built my business to the top, which was just so amazing. I went really fast in the business. So by 9 months in Arbonne, I got to quit my job. So I was working my business on the side. So a lot of people come to me and they're like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I just don't have time. And I was like, but we do this so we can have time, and just trying to explain to people, because when I started the business, I just went with my gut and I knew that this was something I had to do, even though I had no idea what I was doing. Um,
Yeah.
but I just had this flame inside me that I was like, it's hard to explain, but I just knew I had to do this business. So anyways, like I got to quit my job. It was the best feeling ever, firing my boss, but I was literally waking up earlier in the mornings. I was doing it in my lunch breaks. Instead of Netflix at night, I'd wait till my son went to bed and then I mainly did my business at night, on the phones, voice noting, or, I would go out for coffee dates in the weekends and a lot of it was like belly to belly too, like just, having those conversations with people. So yeah, I got to the very top of the business in 2020, so 14 months after I started. A lot of people like would laugh and look at you and go, "Oh, look at you selling your fizz sticks, la la la," and then next minute, like here I am, high rolling it.
That's what we've done. Yeah.
you know. But honestly,
Oh,
like I guess a bit of advice for anyone that has started network marketing and they're getting this like, kickback or whatever, just honestly, just show them, use that as your fuel, because now my life is just absolutely incredible, even though I've had to go through the whole being a single mum again when she was only 4 weeks old and, navigating that. Like that first year of her life was just absolutely horrific. Like, all I wanted was, for so long wanted that baby. And then her first year was just kind of taken away from me. I was so heartbroken and just, obviously trying to be a mum to Ryder. I built my business to the top, but like I mentally, physically, emotionally couldn't show up because a lot of my stuff was like I'd built it online. I'd built like quite a successful Instagram and all that kind of thing. And, and then obviously like all the whispers going around and Kelly still had to show up with this newborn baby. So that's where like I look back and I'm like, man, I'm so freaking proud of myself for still doing that, because I knew that like there's no way I was going back to work or a job. There's no way. Like I literally worked too hard to get this baby. I want to spend every single moment with her. And I guess also having a daughter, like, oh, it's different, hey. Like
it does.
I'm
Oh
gonna
my
get
God.
quite emotional because whenever I talk about her, I get really upset.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, like she has literally taught me so much about like self-worth and just I don't know, like I think I did accept a lot of breadcrumbs back in the past, and I think that's because I never really worked on myself and like like yes, I worked on my confidence, but my actual self-worth. And when you're in the middle of it and you're trying for a baby, you kind of just accept like this is our journey, like no matter what, this is what's happening. So yeah, once kind of everything happened and I found myself a single mum again, for me, all I ever wanted was my family. Like all I ever wanted was mum and dad. I grew up with a single mum. So for me, it was so important to have my family unit, right? And then obviously it just hasn't worked out like that for me. But yeah, for that first year of her life, it was just, yeah, it was pretty horrific. Like I couldn't even open up bills. I couldn't even, it was like I was on
Yeah,
autopilot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would
And don't you
literally,
think too that our daughters are such a, I always say like that feeling that you just had, I have all the time as well, which is they're almost like a mirror to ourselves. And like it's such a reflection of what we put up with but wouldn't let them put up with, or
100.
like things like that. And then you go, wow, like, and people say that when you focus on sort of speaking to your younger self, that like if you were to meet your 5-year-old self, what would you be saying to her, like, and the journey that
Oh,
she's going to have? And that rips me apart every time I try to do that. But the same thing happens when you've got a little daughter, a little mini you who's looking back at you, and you think, I would not ever let this happen to you. I would not ever let you go through this. You're going to go through shit, that's life. But, and it's such a reflection of like, oh, wow, but I put up with that, or I talk to myself that way, or I'm, never celebrating myself, or I'm judging myself against others, or whatever it is. And then you see your girls and, and go, this is just no. And actually, when I had my oldest, I worked for Women's Health and Fitness magazine. I was their business development manager. And we would literally sit in boardrooms with the covers of, beautiful, fit women and alter them. Not me, but obviously the people would be like, make her boobs bigger, make her waist smaller, da 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 da. And I remember being like really pregnant in the boardroom one day and just going, I can't do this. Like I cannot have, and I knew I was having a daughter, and then be like, this is what mum does for work. Like it was just the biggest aha for me that there was just no possible way that I could stay in an industry that was a lie, basically.
good on you. And yeah, I guess, and you probably wouldn't even really second guess it as much not having a daughter, right? And
Mm.
that's where I guess having Rosa, like, that whole year was, I say it's an absolute write-off, but I still got up. And I say that like, but I still did, like I look back and I'm like, I still freaking did the work. I still
Yeah.
showed up. I still went to the gym every single day because I knew that I can't, I've got 2 kids. Like I can't just like stay in the dumps. But
Mm.
it was the start of my healing journey. Like as soon as I had a daughter, without me knowing, it was the start of a huge healing journey for myself. Like, as you were saying, like what you're going to put up with, your boundaries. And, I'm such an empath, and a people pleaser, whatever. But it wasn't until I got so burnt and having a daughter that I was like, do you know what? I've got boundaries all of a sudden. And I've stayed single 3 years, haven't even like, I don't know. The first year was really hard because I haven't been single like literally since high school. I've been in a relationship. It's just been like, but for the first time, it's almost like Kelly has to be single. Kelly has to find out who she is. I have to break the cycles because I do not want my daughter and my son to go through what I went through and put up with what I went through for so long. So yeah, it's actually been amazing. And like this actual last year, I actually built back to the top of my business. So it's such a cool story because I went really fast at the time, but I lost that title after about 2 years, and it was a year after everything had happened, like when I became a single mum with Rosa. But do you know what I always say as well with this business? Like, embrace for impact because no one knows what's around the corner and no one lives this perfect life. You're going to get challenges, and we are meant to face challenges because it's what makes us, like people look at me and they're like, man, she's got grit, she's got resilience. Like I'm so known for that because ever since I've started Arbonne, I've had a journey. Like
Yeah.
everything's come to take me out pretty much. And people are like, I can't believe you're still here. And I was like, do you know what? I will forever, ever do this business and be in Arbonne. I'm so loyal because what it's done for me. And that whole year, I was healing, grieving, postpartum, new mum, mum to rider. I still had an income coming in from all those years. I, like built it, and it was just absolutely incredible. So, even to the mums that have to go through IVF or like, have a miscarriage like me, that when I had my miscarriage at 14 weeks, my business went to the top a month later because my whole team just rallied around me and they were like, man, Kelly, and this is what this business is. It's a pay it forward. So yeah, I literally took a whole month off to grieve when I lost my baby, and I got the biggest paycheck of my life. I couldn't believe it. And that's when I saw like the absolute power of this business and like what women can do and what we, and like when you surround yourself, I get goosebumps, when you surround yourself with women supporting women and the right women,
Yeah.
you just create magic. And it's like, name me one mum that doesn't want to have time with her children.
Yeah.
Yes, some mums are out there and that's great and they love their job and I love that. But for me, that's not me. I want to have a balance. I want to feel fulfilled in what I do and by helping other people. And I've found my niche. Like I love hyping up women. I love seeing women get confidence again because I was that woman that had nothing, and and I've built myself to the top twice through so much shit. So I know what it's like, and the thing is, like, so many people give up when one thing happens in their life, and they think, nah, nah, I'm not good. This is not me, or I can't do this. This is too hard. Honestly, name everything is freaking hard. Everything is hard
Yeah.
in life, and it's like for me, choose your hard. Like choose your hard. For me, the hard part was going back to work when I've had two kids as a single mum and missing out on all
Yeah.
of their milestones. And yes, it was hard getting back up, putting myself back out there. But guess what? My life now, I literally did get to design my days. So I haven't worked a job for 5 years. I have been able to be a stay-at-home mum. I put my daughter in daycare twice a week just because she's a firecracker and she needs it and she loves it. But it also gives me those 2 days to work my business, to go out for coffees. I go to the gym every day. I literally can do what I want. I can literally pack up, take my kids overseas. Like I've just come back from a Bali trip. I've been to Maui, so Arbonne pays for you and plus one to go to Maui in Hawaii every year. So I just recently got back from that, taking my two kids.
It was the
Just
best watching that. I think like only having been a part of your journey for such a small, short period of time, but I felt all of the feels seeing you with your family in Maui that I can't even imagine how those who have been with you from the start felt seeing you and the kids in Maui. Like just yeah,
it's just
it was
magic,
unbelievable.
honestly.
Yeah.
And when I first went to the top, I missed out on all the Maui trips because of COVID. And then obviously getting pregnant with Rosa. And yeah, so that was my second time. The first time I went, I just went by myself because I just wanted to take it all in. And, and it was the first time I actually left my kids. And it was really hard, but I knew I had to go there to set the vision for my team and just know what this is all about. And honestly, the trip I've just been on in January with the kids was just the most beautiful trip. I was surrounded by other families with their kids, like, because Arbonne's in America, Canada, UK, Poland, Australia, New Zealand. So all the top leaders are put in this beautiful resort. And when you're surrounded by people like that, you come home buzzing. You're like, wow, I thought I was playing big, but I'm not. Like, these people with massive vision, and that's where it's like it's so important who you hang around with, right? And who you talk to, all that kind of thing. So I'm really protective over my energy and who I let in now and like who I talk to. Because a lot of people do get put off. They talk to their neighbor about it or a friend who's never even been in network marketing or even know anyone in network marketing. So like, oh, isn't it one of those pyramid schemes? It's like going to ask for like advice for your pet, but you go to I don't know, like a
Yeah,
hairdresser.
it's
I don't know.
I do
Don't.
think it's changed a lot though over time. Like I feel like half of the people that, people following now as big time sort of influencers, I guess, online, started out in network marketing and had the money that they had to then fund the next thing. Like, that it's no longer, someone like just stay at home mums, or just, like there's
Yeah.
doctors, there's like, I know so many people who are real professionals, or were in their job, that, had huge professional careers, and just went, this doesn't bring me joy. Like, great money, it gives me a status, but what does that matter in the scheme of life? Like, other people's opinions don't pay your bills. Other people's opinions don't give you trips every year with your family. Other people's opinions don't give you time, freedom back. You can have all of the jobs, the best job in the world. It still might not fulfill you. And I think too, on that, so many people rule people out because of that. So I know that so many people aren't having the conversations they want to have with others because they think, oh, that person loves their job. They're in that career. They, have plenty of money. And it's like, yeah, but they might be absolutely exhausted, burnt out, have no time freedom left, and therefore their relationship's suffering. They're not seeing friends ever, all those things that really is what brings you joy in life. And you just don't know what's going on, do you, behind? I'm sure so many people saw you show up over the last 6 years thinking Kelly's got it all sorted. Like, look how magic her life is. And it is, like, seeing you on those beautiful walks every day, you going to the gym. Like, how many women actually racing off to the office and don't have the time to do that, or have to get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym because they have to then have the full day ahead and not see the kids. Like, and
I know.
don't realize that behind all of that was the work, as you say, in the dark, that was those nights, that was showing up even though you didn't want to or didn't feel like it in the moment. But once you do show up, what a change that is. Like, how you just like, oh, great, I could prove that to myself that I can do hard things.
Absolutely. And
Basically.
in the end, it's the small things that matter, right? And I remember putting up a story one morning and, like it was daycare day, but, Rosa wasn't feeling that well. And she's just like, I just want to snuggle with you, mummy. So I was like, do you know what? We can just snuggle on the couch. And I put up a story and I was like, and, I was just like, of me and her, and I was like, I just love slow mornings. And the amount of mums that messaged me and just got, I would do anything to have this with my child today, and I still remember that gut feeling of like that heartbreaking feeling of like dropping Ryder off to daycare when he was sick, but I couldn't afford to stay at home and skip a payday. So I had to take him to daycare. Or it's just, honestly, for me, it just rips my heart out knowing that so many mums have to go to a job so they get paid or they can put food on the table. And yeah, it's honestly the small things for me. And that's where, like, I remember going to one of my first conferences with Arbonne, and I still wasn't really like, I was like, I was loving it, but I wasn't like, I don't know, like sussed, where I went to this conference and that's when it like a light bulb went off and I was like, I am home. These
Yeah.
women are my people. Like I've never in my life been in a place where the energy, and I just remember like, and as you were saying, like with like high, like careers and all that sort of thing. So I remember like there was this doctor on stage and she had worked years and years and years to be a doctor. And then obviously once she became a doctor, just the hours that she did. But she said, yes, that's amazing. But guess what? I missed out on my kids' childhood and I can't take that back. So when someone approached her about Arbonne and now she's like way up there and she's just like, honestly, like this is everything, you guys. Like you cannot get time back. So yeah, and that's the thing. It's like this is not just for mums, stay-at-home mums. There's so many walks of life that
Yeah.
love this so much. And honestly, the paycheck is insane. There's no capped income. So you
Mm.
literally, whatever you want to put into it, you're going to get out. And I always say as well, like to a lot of, the people that come into my team, this is not a quick fix, okay? So don't just think you're going to start it out and then you're going to get all this money. Like, no, 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 no. Like this is actually like one of our girls in our team, the other night in training was like, this is a soul spiritual like journey, like you actually get to find out who you really are. Like you go through uncomfortable moments, you show up in the dark, as you're saying, us mums, like we work it in the nooks and crannies, like, like I even sometimes find myself doing it on the toilet, trying to
Yeah.
send a
Pockets
voice.
of time. Yeah.
Yeah. But like busy people are amazing. They know how to do it. And it's like, and if you're driven and you've got that purpose and you've got that, and I always say, like, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And in 5 years' time, if you're still doing the same thing, which I did for so long of my life until I was 35, until I was like, enough is enough. Like, enough is enough. Like, I can't keep doing this. And I want to live a life on my terms. I don't want to be told what to do. I want to be able to stay at home with my daughter if she wants to. I want to be able to take them away on a holiday without asking for time off. So, oh yeah, it's just
What
the
a
most
journey.
incredible. Yeah. But I honestly, my path is just like I want to help as many women feel this as well, just taking their power back.
Yeah, I love it. I love you. I love your story. I think so many are going to listen and be like, wow, I think so many people think they don't have time or there's this thing going on or I'll do it when, the old the getting the case of the whens, like when I've got more time or when I've got more, I don't know, when I can get to the gym more, when I am comfortable showing up online, but that this is the journey of becoming. This is the journey of like figure it out as you go. There is no I've set up the, the baseline for it, the social media following, the confidence to do things. You do it as you go. I always say, had I not had all my network marketing time, my actual job in my corporate world now, I would be terrible at because I have to show up so much in meetings and present and be, the face of things. I learnt that through network marketing. I didn't learn that through my corporate job.
Uh,
And the goal obviously is to be able to leave that and do this full time exactly as the way that you did, to be able to give back to others, to show people what's possible, but also to build something in pockets of time, because that ultimately is all the time that we do have as mums and all the things. But what do they say, that if you want something done, ask the busiest person in the room? And it's so true. Like those people will get it done. So I am so grateful to you and for sharing all of this. Thank you so much for being here.
so welcome. I'm so glad I can just hopefully help someone today that's listened to this. And like my biggest advice is just do it. Like put those blinkers on and just shut out the noise. Don't compare yourself to my 6 years to you starting, because if I did that, then and also if I listened to all the people, all the noise, I wouldn't be living this life. And anyone can live this life. It's just honestly at the end of the day, how bad do you want it? How much are you prepared to work? How much are you prepared to still show up in those tough times? Because no one's life is like this. So be grateful for the hard times, because that's really what shapes us. And when it does get a little harder and you're having a bad day, just dig those heels in even deeper, because your future self is gonna just love you for it. Yeah.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Han. Thank you for being here.
Welcome. Bye.